Have you ever wondered what makes a story, any story, just stick with you? You know, whether it's a huge blockbuster movie or just a friend telling you about their week. Some stories just seem to have this magnetic pull. Well, today, we're going to unlock the secret code behind them.
And a very warm welcome to our deep dive, the Flow Tao Salon. This is our little corner of the world for really digging into the DNA of a great story. What makes it tick, what makes it resonate, and how it creates that emotional connection we all crave.
So, let's start right there, with that big question. Why do some stories just work? I mean, you see a 1-minute ad and suddenly you're feeling all choked up. You hear someone introduce themselves and you're immediately hooked. I promise you, it's not magic, it's structure. There's a hidden formula at play, and today, we're going to put it right under the microscope.
All right, so here's the game plan for today. First, we're going to deconstruct this thing called the Bullseye formula. Then we'll see it in action with some amazing examples you'll definitely recognize. After that, we'll talk about conflict, which is really the engine of any good story. And finally, we'll bring it all back to you and how you can use this. Sound good? Let's get into it.
Okay, first up, the Bullseye formula. I want you to think of this as the secret 7-step recipe that gives stories their incredible power and emotional punch. It's a framework that, once you know it, I swear, you will start seeing it absolutely everywhere.
So what is it really? Well, at its core, the Bullseye formula is a 7-step framework built around a single character, what the author calls the Bullseye person. This is someone with a really clear target, a goal they hold right in their heart. And that single goal, that's the engine that drives the entire story forward.
And here are the steps of that journey. It all kicks off with the target. But of course, an obstacle gets in the way, so the character puts in the effort, which leads to a result. But right when you think you know where things are going, something totally unexpected happens. That creates the turning point, and from there we finally reach the ending. It sounds simple, right? But the real power is in how these steps build on each other.
Let's just quickly break down what each stage actually does, because this is where the magic is. The target, like we said, is the engine. The obstacle, that creates the tension that keeps us watching. The effort is where we see what the character is made of. Now, this next part is so important. The initial result is often a failure. Why? Because failure raises the stakes, and honestly, it makes us connect with the character more. Then, boom, an unexpected event comes out of nowhere, leading to the turning point. This is the absolute soul of the story, the moment of real change. And finally, the ending is what ties it all together and gives it meaning. And what's cool is that this formula is super flexible. You can actually adapt it for, say, a short punchy ad with a twist. You might use what's called the unexpected man formula. You just jump from the goal straight to a shocking event. But for a story about hard work and perseverance, you'd probably use the diligent man formula, focusing on that struggle and effort. You can mix and match these pieces to fit the exact story you need to tell.
Okay, enough with the theory, let's see this thing out in the wild. Because once you see it, you'll realize its DNA is in everything from your favorite Netflix show to those viral commercials you just can't stop sharing.
Let's start with a huge one, The Queen's Gambit. I mean, this show is a phenomenon, and it's a perfect case study. It follows the main character, Beth Harmon, on a journey that follows this formula almost perfectly.
So, what's Beth's target? It's crystal clear, right? To become the world's greatest chess player. And her obstacles? Oh man, they are massive. She's an orphan dealing with some serious trauma and a crippling addiction. The stakes are just incredibly high right from the get-go.
Her effort is just immense. She dedicates her entire life to chess. But what's the initial result? A totally devastating failure. She faces the world champion in Paris, completely hungover, and gets absolutely humiliated. All that effort wasn't enough to beat her inner demons, and as the audience, man, we feel that defeat with her.
And right when she hits rock bottom, the unexpected happens. Her old friend from the orphanage, Jolene, just shows up out of the blue. Now, this isn't something Beth caused or earned. It's a totally external event that just interrupts her downward spiral and changes everything.
And this leads to the soul of the entire story, the turning point. Beth discovers that her very first mentor, Mr. Scheipel, had been secretly following her whole career, clipping every article and pasting it into a scrapbook. And seeing this, she realizes she was never really alone. This one emotional moment gives her a whole new reason to fight. I mean, that's the heart of the story, right there.
Now, that same emotional logic that got millions of us hooked on The Queen's Gambit is exactly what powers the world's best advertising. Because let's be honest, a great ad doesn't sell you a product. It sells you an emotion, all wrapped up in a story.
Just think about that legendary unsung hero ad from Thai Life Insurance. The main character's target is simple, just to do good. His effort is all these small, daily acts of kindness that seem to get no result. He gets nothing back. But then comes that unexpected moment. The little girl he helped can now afford her school uniform. That's the turning point, revealing the true, invisible reward of what he does. The brand isn't selling insurance, it's selling the feeling of making a difference. It's brilliant.
So, what's the fuel for this whole narrative engine? What really makes it go? Well, the answer is simple: conflict. Conflict is the heartbeat of the story. It's the energy that pumps life through the veins of the narrative and keeps us totally glued to the screen.
And you know, the best stories, they don't just rely on one kind of conflict. They weave together 3 different layers. First, you've got goal conflict, the "can I do it?" struggle, like not having enough money to buy candy. Then there's conceptual conflict, the moral "should I do it?" struggle, like wrestling with whether to just steal that candy. But the most powerful of all is emotional conflict. This taps into universal things like love, loss, and connection. A truly great story layers all 3.
But as you're building out that conflict and that structure, there's a really crucial warning here. A formula is an amazing tool, but it is not a substitute for being authentic. As one review of the sourcebook so wisely put it, if you're not Steve Jobs, don't tell Steve Jobs stories. Your story has to feel true to you. A big, dramatic story that doesn't actually fit who you are will just feel hollow and fall flat.
So let's bring all of this home. How can you actually use this formula to tell your own story? I'm serious. Whether it's in a job interview, a big presentation, or just a simple self-introduction, this framework is incredibly practical.
Check out how this personal career journey becomes a really compelling story. The target was escaping a boring job. The obstacle? Total uncertainty, instability. The initial result was a new career in journalism, but it had its own limits. Then came that unexpected moment, discovering a passion for coding. That led to a massive turning point, quitting and retraining. And the ending? A new career that combines both passions, writing and developing. See how that's so much more engaging than just listing jobs on a resume?
The author of this formula leaves us with one last, really powerful piece of advice. You have to believe you are a genius. The conviction you bring when telling your story is often what makes it stick. People connect with your belief in yourself first and the facts second. Your confidence in your own narrative, well, that's your greatest asset. And that leaves us with one final question for you to really think about. What was your turning point? That unexpected moment, that event, that decision that shifted your path and completely redefined your story. Because understanding that, that's the first step to telling a narrative that truly matters. Thanks for joining us today.